Alright, welcome back to my boss build series, and I am on Strand Titan today, doing some massive damage to Gahlran in the Duality Dungeon with Frenzied Blade and Grapple Melee and Blade Fury on Strand Titan with Synthoceps in combination with a 1-2 punch Strand shotgun and tractor cannon with Monochromatic Maestro and Banner of War. Yeah, I think that's about all of the ingredients that you need to actually get this combo going, where you can do up to 428,000 damage per Frenzied Blade. So I mean, one shotgun shot followed by 2 Frenzied Blades is 1,000,000 damage almost, which is just absurd. And you could do that when you have unstable essence, right? So you get the unstable essence from killing the Shades of Gahlran, and for about the first 10 seconds of the damage phase, you get that extra damage buff. But even without unstable essence, you're going to be doing like 286,000 damage per blade, which is still absolutely nuts. I mean, that's like 3 rockets. For one single Frenzied Blade, right? But like I said, it does take a little bit of build crafting, and you need the right setup to do it. So, like I said here, as far as the abilities and aspects go, well, obviously I'm using Banner of War, because Banner of War is not only going to give me the survivability that I need to do the dungeon in this encounter, but it's also going to give me increased melee damage. I think it's 40% extra melee damage on your Frenzied Blade, which is substantial. And on top of that, Into the Fray for Woven Mail from my Tangles, but also Into the Fray gives you an increase to your melee energy regen, and I think it is something like 400%. It's kind of on the same level as like Whisper of Shards for stasis, for getting those stasis grenades, and Offensive Bulwark for getting void grenades on Titans when you have a Void Overshield. Like, it's on that level, but for your Frenzied Blade, right? Because I mean, that's the only Strand melee ability that we have for Titan anyways. And then when you combine that with the specific fragments like Thread of Fury, well, Thread of Fury, all you have to do is damage anything with a tangle, and not kill, just damage. You damage anything with a tangle, you get a full refund. You get a full Frenzied Blade refund, right? You're not going to get all 3. Like, if you're depleted, don't expect to get all 3, but you will get 1 full refresh on your charged melee for every single tangle hit, right? And you're going to be spamming those tangles because we're doing ability damage, right? So that's automatically going to debuff targets and spawn tangles for us. Also with Thread of, I think it's Transmutation. Transmutation. So while you have Woven Mail, weapon kills will spawn tangles. And this includes your glaive, right? So I'm using a glaive here for saving special ammo, so that I have enough shotgun ammo for damage phase. And I never really run out, but like, still, you don't want to just be going around all over the place spamming special when you're running a double special setup. So a glaive, yes, it's special, but like, you could just use the melee part of it, and yeah, you just save your ammo like that, right? But the interesting thing about it is that it counts as weapon kills when considering Thread of Transmutation. So your glaive kills will spawn you tangles, which is pretty cool. What else? Thread of Generation, just kind of the standard fragment to go on any Strand build to give you increased grenade energy, because my grenade is another melee ability, right? The grapple melee, you can actually combine it with 1-2 punch as well. It does. If there's a higher skill gap than you just using your shotgun to proc 1-2 punch for your frenzied blades, but you can do it if you're quick enough with the grapple melee. But it does take some practice, and I'm sure that if I was able to practice that skill enough with the grapple melee 1-2 punch, and if I was able to spawn a grapple point from like Navigator and do some kind of hot swapping, or create a tangle just in the right spot in this encounter, then I could probably one phase Gahlran just by using the grapple melee with 1-2 punch, which would be nuts. But like I said, I need to do some more practice on that. And but even without, like, I put together this gameplay in less than an hour. Like, on my first try, I did about the same amount of damage as you see here, and I just couldn't believe it because I don't play with this build. I've hardly played with this build all season. I've played with Abandoned Leaps. I've played with Strongholds. It's just, I typically, whenever I know something is like so strong in the meta, I tend to stay away from it. Like, I barely touched Storm Grenades when they were meta, and I barely touched Bonk Titan when it was meta. Although you could say Bonk Titan is still meta, and I definitely use it. But when it's fresh and new, and it's like, when I just see that everybody's using it in all of their YouTube videos and Twitch streams, and like nobody takes off the build, everybody just uses the exact same build all season long, like, for some reason it just disinterests me. Like, I don't want to follow what everybody else is doing. I like to kind of just explore my creativity elsewhere, right, instead of just following along. But anyways, we're at the end of the season now, and I did intend on doing another boss builds video. Duality is in rotation this week, and Gahlran is like the perfect boss to test this build on, right? So yeah, I couldn't believe it. My first try, and although I say like this is my first attempt, or within this 1 hour of gameplay, like, I've watched people use this build effectively, like Salta Grappo and others doing like solo Ear-Ute and duo Crota and stuff like that. Like, I've seen what they do, and I know I basically know like the sequence of combinations that you're supposed to do, like 1 shotgun, 2 frenzied blades, shotgun again, use your last frenzied blade, shotgun, grapple melee, then reapply tractor, use your super. At the end of your super, you get all your frenzy blades refunded to you, so then you can just go back into that, reapply tractor, 1-2 punch, 2 frenzy blades, 1-2 punch, last frenzy blade, grapple melee, and then pretty much your damage phase is over at that point. So I've seen it done in theory, so it was a lot easier for me to kind of execute this general the general strategy or tactic here. But you can see I'm definitely not perfect at it, but I'm still doing a ton of damage to Gahlran. And the only other time that I've solo 2-phase Gahlran is I've almost done it with Lament, and I'm sure I could do it with Lament if I was like perfect with my combos, but it's with Legend of Acreus, and I think my first boss builds video that I put up in this series, you can check out the playlist on my channel, where I did it on Arcstrider with Gathering Storm and Legend of Acreus, right? And that was not as easy of a 2-phase as this. Like I said, I just went into it kind of first try, thinking that I was going to have to spend a few hours practicing the combos and everything to even be effective. But no, like, I was able to be effective even with subpar skills with this build. So yeah. What else am I using here? Thread of Warding, so that when I pick up orbs, which I'm creating orbs from heavy-handed, so my charged melee kills are going to create orbs for me. And that's going to give me recuperation, so I get a little bit of health from picking up those orbs. And other than that, my armor charge is not going to... it's not really going into anything useful other than I think I was using Healthy Finisher or Special Finisher or even 1-2 Finisher. I can't remember, but I didn't really have to use it. I just figured if I'm gonna collect Armor Charge, because this is an ability spam build, specifically for boss damage. You know, I'm not really playing into kickstarts or searches, although I didn't really think about using kickstarts. I guess that could have been useful, but a kickstart's really only going to benefit you during a boss fight, you know, for that first initial use of your ability, because after that you have no way to like restack your armor charge. So I was just using, if I like Special Finisher or something like that. That way, if you're running low on special, because obviously before you go into each damage phase, you want to make sure you have enough special ammo, which is where the glaive comes in handy here. And speaking about the glaive, so even though this is just for my neutral gameplay, for pre-damage and all that, Judgment of Kelgaroth, actually, ironically, I think when this glaive came out, it was the first glaive to roll with close to melee. Right, close to melee was a brand new perk with this glaive in Season of the Seraph, and it was actually had some broken interactions with Synthoceps and Radiant, and somebody solo one-phase Gahlran just with Kelgaroth and Tractor Cannon alone. So I don't know if it was like stacking with Roaring Flames or something, but it was doing something crazy. Anyways, it's not nearly as crazy anymore, but it's still close to melee. It's a good damage buff for, you know, a free melee use. And then I've got Demolitionist on it as well, which you don't get the Demolitionist procs from the actual melee kills with the glaive, but you do get 20% of your grenade energy back with every projectile kill, which comes in handy. And then for my Swordbreaker, which is the Strand shotgun from Crota's End, I've spent a lot of time on Crota's End this season. That's pretty much where I've spent most of my gameplay. I actually got the title. I've got all the weapons crafted. I've got all the adepts. I got everything. So on this Swordbreaker, I put Enhanced Pugilist and Enhanced 1-2 Punch, but I don't think Pugilist is worth it. I think it'd be better to have Demolitionist, and I'm probably going to change it because I thought Pugilist would be good just because, you know, if I'm using the shotgun, it's going to be for this build, right? So it's going to help me get those Frenzied Blades back fast, but I get the Frenzied Blades back so fast with Into the Fray and Thread of Fury anyways. It's not really necessary, and I'm not going around really spamming the shotgun for kills, right? It's mainly to proc 1-2 punch. So if I am going to use it for kills, I'd rather use it to get my Grapple Melee, because your Grapple Melee is also a melee ability, and it's, you know, arguably better than the Frenzied Blade if you can use it properly. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Monochromatic Maestro, you know, Strand shotgun is going to give you more strand damage as well. That plays into it. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.